Michai Cohen, founder of livekabbalah.com, an online school which is located here in the holy city of Tzfat. Please check out the site and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. So we are going to dive into some of the insights that the Zohar has on the upcoming redemption, and we're all seeing it with our eyes. We're sensing it, that there's something happening in the world right now. And we're going to explore what the Zohar has to say about the times that we are living in. And the Zohar has a lot to say about that. So let's jump right in. So this is actually from the introduction of the Zohar on page 4, 4b. So let's jump right in. Patach Rabbi Shimon ve'amar. Rabbi Shimon opened up and he said, Yeol Rabbi Chia. Rabbi Chia, one of the prime students of Rabbi Shimon, should come to the academy of Rabbi Shimon. And he should see how the Holy One, blessed be He, treats the tzaddikim, the holy individuals, in the world to come. In other words, what paradise really is all about. So Rabbi Chia's soul catapulted up to heaven and had this communion, had this ability to actually go into the various academies which are up there. Zaka iumanda'al hacha. Praiseworthy is the one that is able to come to this place without embarrassment. V'zaka mandekaim behu alma ke'amuda takif bechula. And praised is the one that is able to withstand in the lower world, meaning this world, and to fight against their evil inclination, against their Yetzer Hara, their ego, and to be able to subdue it and transform it. V'chama, and then it says Rabbi Chia saw himself to have an aisle. He actually entered this academy of Rabbi Shimon. V'hava kam Rabbi Elazar sha'amudin diyatvin taman, and Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, and all the great tzaddikim that were there, all stood up in the honor of the Torah of Rabbi Chia. V'hu hava kasif, and Rabbi Chia, who was technically still alive, just his soul went up there, and he saw all these holy individuals, was embarrassed by the fact that everyone stood up in his honor. Ve'ashmit garmei, and he tried to hide himself. Ve'al v'yativ leraglu de Rabbi Shimon, and he sat by the feet of Rabbi Shimon. Kala nafik v'amar ma'ich einach de lo tizkof reishach v'lo tistakal. A heavenly voice came out and it said that you should lower your eyes and you should not hold up your head and should not see the great lights which are emanating in paradise. Because at the end of the day, his body was still alive and his soul is connected to his body. So if he would have seen those great lights, so then his soul would actually leave his body. So he lowered his eyes, his gaze, and he saw a great light which was coming from the distance. The voice came back and said again, Ilayin Temirin Stimin, the great angels, the ones Ilayin that are up there, that are high, that are hidden. And actually in various places in the Zohar, they're called the eyes of God. And it's a verse in the Tanakh that says that the eyes of God are mishotetin, they're everywhere. And the Zohar speaks about this in various places, that there's types of angels which are just eyes, that they basically see everything which is going on. So pikiche eina, their eyes are open, inun de mishatetin b'chol alma, and they are looking all over. And we can kind of like get a sense of what that means nowadays, that we are in a sense filmed all the time. You know, persons walking down the street, there's cameras, and you know, people didn't have that years ago, but nowadays we could sense that. We know what it's about, how everything is technically recordable, right? So these angels are there and they're seeing everything which is happening in our universe, in our world. Istaklu v'chamu, they saw this great light and they said, Tatain de michin stimin b'chareim. The you, the lower ones. And they were sort of referring to the one that is still alive, Rabbi Chia, and he said, you, the lower ones, although Rabbi Chia was a great tzaddik, said that are sleeping and your eyes are closed, meaning that you're sleeping in the, not just you're sleeping, that you don't have an awareness of the spiritual greatness, but your eyes are closed, that you don't even realize that there's something to even wake up to. Itaru said, wake up, get up. Man minechon, one of you, dichashucha mehapchen lenahara, one of you that is able to transform darkness into light. Vitamin merir lemitka, and are able to transform bitterness into sweetness. Ad lo yetun hacha, should not come to this place, should not come to this academy, to paradise. If you're unable to transform the darkness of the world, the darkness of your existence, and the bitterness of life, or the trials and tribulations, into sweetness, into opportunity, then that is not paradise. Then you're unable to really come to this place, which is paradise. And the voice continued, Man minechon, one of you, those of you, demechakan b'chol yoma lenahara denahir, that await every single day to that light which will shine, meaning the light of Mashiach, the light of the redemption that's going to shine in the near future, and could imagine that light and are thinking about that light. B'shaita de malka paki lailata, at the time that the king will now be unified with the queen, and that refers to the word over here is ailata, which is a gazelle. And the gazelle, ke'ayal, King David says, ke'ayal taro galafike maim, that kol Hashem shover ayalos. Basically, the ayal, the gazelle, is an allegory for the realm of malchut, of kingship. And that has to do with malchut, which is basically the last of the sfirot, and it is the realm of what is called King David's sukkah, which has fallen down all the way to this world, and it's an exile. So that time where the king is going to now be unified with the queen, then, and are waiting for that time, this heavenly voice is saying, Vityakar vitkare malka mikol malkin de alma, and then the king of all kings, God, is going to become exalted and will be considered this king the way he's supposed to be the king, because he's going to be together with the queen. One that does not await for that time every single day for the redemption. And essentially, there's a deep understanding here on a practical level that the great Kabbalists and Tzaddikim used to wake up already when it's nighttime to await that time of day, dawn, and they used to, and they still do, perform what is called the Tikkun Chatzot, the fixing of midnight, and study during that time, and then go into daylight, which has to do with, essentially, with redemption. Late chulaka b'hacha, has no place over here. If you don't wait for redemption, you have no place in the academy of Rabbi Shimon. So basically, these angels are telling us that what is the academy of Rabbi Shimon? It's the academy of redemption. It's the academy of Mashiach, as we're going to see the Zohar continue. So while this was happening, while Rabbi Chia was there, a couple of friends, meaning a couple of his companions, were there that were obviously not in this world anymore, but they were studying in this academy. Kol inu namudin dekaimin, and he saw all these great, what is called pillars in paradise that are listening to the voices of Torah. V'chama disliku lo lamitifta derki, and he saw that they raised them up, all these souls, to the heavenly academy, the yeshiva, which is called the academy, yeshiva of Rakia. Because we know after this world, in the realm of souls, the souls keep on being basking in this realm of of Torah, of learning on a spiritual, on a totally different level. And there's realms and there's yeshivas upon yeshivas and academies, etc., that souls go to. So these particular souls that Rabbi Chia knew in his lifetime ascended to this very high place. And he saw this angel of great wings, which is called the angel Matat, which is called the great servant of God, came forward. And he mentioned the great oath which he heard past the curtain. And this curtain is referring to the curtain which separates the veil even of paradise, which goes all the way to that place essentially of God, and has to do the place of Holy of Holies, which there was a veil there in the temple. There was a veil that separated, and then going past that is that place of infinity, complete infinity. And so he heard that voice coming from behind that veil. This great servant, the servant Matat, said, "The Malka mafkid b'chol yoma u'dechir la'ilata," that the king remembers each and every day the gazelle, remembers the Malchut, the queen, which is in exile, and those that rise up in midnight, they assist the Shechina to become uplifted. Di shechivat le'afra, which is actually on the floor, which is lying down on the floor in exile. Uvad bi'itin, and then the angel Matat kicked, and he showed his grand leg kicking. And the Talmud actually says how huge this angel is, and it says 500 years, even to just get to one part of his body. On if we would equate that to earthly years, right? That's the extent of his vastness, and he did that. He shaita, and at that time, meaning the time of midnight, bitlat mea v'tishin rikin, in 390 firmaments up there in heavens. There's 390 of them, which is the numerology, the gematria of Shamayim. Shamayim, Shin, Mem, Yud, Mem is 390, which are in that realm of the Holy of Holies. Okay, the Zohar says, "V'chulu meratitin v'zayin kamein." All of them are in trepidation for the firmaments from that power of judgment, essentially, of that distance between the king and the queen of Malchut, of the exile, of the separation, the Ori Dimin, and then God Himself actually cries, and 2 drops come down, which the commentators explain that has to do with Netzach and Hod, which are refer to the legs on the spiritual level. Al daf, for this, v'nafli inu demin retichin ke'esha, and those tears come down and they're like fire. Lego yamaraba, go into the great ocean. What is this great ocean? To become sweetened over there. The great ocean is generally refers to the Mediterranean. Umi inu dimin, and from those drops, from those tears, kaimahu mimana de yama, that emissary of the ocean. We know that there's an angel that is in charge of different earthly tasks, and so there's an angel that's in charge of the ocean. Vitkayam, and he holds himself to withhold the covenant. Vikadish shemei demal kadisha, and he exalts the name of the Holy King. V'kabil alei lemivla kol mimoy de bereshis, and he actually wants to take upon himself to consume all of the oceans that were created at the beginning of creation. And this basically has to do with the heavenly angels up above that God is considering completely eradicating, and and commentators say this has to do actually with the with wars, and has to do with Gog and Magog, the great war that will happen, that actually has happened. V'yichnush lehu legavei, and will completely take them and extract the holy sparks from within them. B'shaita ditkanshun kol ha'mimaya al ama kadisha, when all of these oceans or nations will embark upon the holy nation of Israel, and it says that surround Jerusalem. V'inganvun maya ve'avun b'negivu, and then all of these oceans are going to dry up, and then the nation, right, Israel, is going to walk through on dry land, just like it happened when coming out of Egypt. Obviously, this needs a lot more explanation, and we do go into these concepts on the site itself. So, not really the time to go into this idea of the difference between the splitting of the sea of Malchut and the future of the times. But I will say very quickly that has to do with the splitting of the sea of Malchut, which happened in the Sea of Reeds. And in the future redemption is going to be a splitting of Bina, of intuition, of understanding, which is the higher level of the splitting of the sea, and it's a higher level of connection to the source itself. Adahachi shama kala de amar, until then, and while this was happening, Rabbi Chia heard a voice, and he heard a voice, panun atar, make room, de hamalka mashicha atalam tifta de Rabbi Shimon, because the king of Mashiach is coming to the Heichal, is coming to the chamber, coming to the academy of Rabbi Shimon. Begin the Chol Tzadikaya de Taman, because all the tzaddikim are found in the chamber of Rabbi Shimon. Reishe Mitifta were all the heads of the academy. Ve'inun Mitifta de Taman Rishimin Inun, and all of those heads of the academy which are there. For example, we have Moshe and Aaron and all of the great shepherds were all there in the academy of Rabbi Shimon. And all of the friends, all the scholars were all there in that academy. They ascended from the lower academy to this higher academy. Mashiach came from all of those places, all of those academies. And he sort of signed, he stamped his seal upon the learning, upon the Torah of those scholars that were heads of the academy in all of these other academies. Now they were all in the academy of Rabbi Shimon. And then Mashiach came to the academy of Rabbi Shimon, and he was crowned by the Torah of all of those other heads of the academies. At that moment, all of the scholars and all of the chaverim all stood up in the honor of Rabbi Shimon. V'kam Rabbi Shimon, and Rabbi Shimon stood up, v'avasalik nehora adrum rakia, and there was a great light that rose upon the head of Rabbi Shimon up until the firmament itself. Amar le. So the king of Mashiach said to Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi, Zaka ana ant odeoraitach salka bitlat mea v'shim na'arin. You are merited that your light rises up to 370 illuminations, 370 lights, which corresponds to the idea of Sha'ah, Shin Ayin. There's 370 illuminations, which has to do with Yeshu'ah, with salvation, Shin Ayin. And the commentators explain that the Shin Ayin corresponds also to the Shin, which has to do with the three first Sfirot, which is Chochmah, Bina, and Dat. And the Ayin, the 7D, corresponds to the 7 lower ones, which are the 7 Sfirot. So altogether, technically, they are the 10. 370 correspond to the 10 Sfirot, which Rabbi Shimon was involved with explaining and elucidating. V'chol nehora, and every sphera, parshat l'shit mer tlatin tamin, and each sphera is explained in 613 ways. The salkin v'istachyan b'nehora farsamona dachyan, that arise up to the 613 inner reasons, and they immerse within the very high persimmon oil bath, and they immerse themselves in there. And that refers to the realm of bina, of understanding, of the depth of understanding, persimmon oil. So it's oil, but it's persimmon, which the Zohar speaks about in other places. V'kucha brichu, and the Holy One, blessed be He, chatim oraita mitiftach, and God Himself, He gives the stamp of approval to you. Umimitivta de Chizkiah melech Yudah, and from the academy of Chizkiah, who was the king of Judah. Chizkiah, the king of Judah, was what is called the righteous king Chizkiah, that he was actually almost crowned as Mashiach himself, and Mashiach was going to become connected to the soul of Chizkiah. Umigu mitivta d'Achia Shilomi, also from the Torah of the great prophet Achia Shilomi, who was the master of Elijah. And Achia Shilomi is called Baal Chai, the master of life, and he's the master of eternal life, and he's referred to the master of Chaya and Yechida. And he actually is the one that eventually taught the Baal Shem Tov himself. And so Rabbi Shimon has a deep soul connection with Achia Shilomi himself. Va'ana lo atena lemichta mimetiftach, and God Himself stamps the approval upon your Torah. Ela mare de gadfin. So while this was happening, the master of wings, referring back to the angel Matat, came down again. Atehacha came over here. So he said that I was not able to know that the angel Matat was going to enter any other academy except for your academy. At that moment, Rabbi Shimon told the Mashiach, the oath that he heard the master of wings say, that he heard that oath that Matat that we mentioned earlier. At that moment, the Mashiach was completely shooken up. And all the heavens started shaking. And the great ocean started to shake. There was a tremor, there was an earthquake, essentially. And the Leviathan started to also shake. And the entire world was kind of like tipsy-turvy. It was going to turn over. There was like a big tremor that was felt because of the cry of Mashiach. And at that moment, Mashiach saw Rabbi Chia that was there by the feet of Rabbi Shimon. Who is he, the one who is sitting over there, who has the cloak of this world, of that world, meaning the physical world? Amar Rabbi Shimon said, Da'i Rabbi Chia, this is Rabbi Chia. Nihir devutzina deraita, he's a great light, great illuminator. And it seems like Mashiach knew who he was, but he didn't know him in that form. He didn't know him in that physical form. Amar le, Mashiach said to Rabbi Shimon, Yitkanesh hu v'nui lehavim min tifta dilach. They should enter. They should enter your academy. So the commentators explain that Mashiach knew that they weren't going to live that long, and eventually Rabbi Chia and his sons, which are great holy individuals, eventually did go to that academy of Rabbi Shimon. Amar Rabbi Shimon Zimna di Ityai V'lei, And so Rabbi Shimon said, I want them to live a long life. I want them to, let's pray for them. They should live a long life. Yahavule zimna. So they were actually granted a couple more years in the merit of that. And once Rabbi Chia descended and came back into this world, his eyes started to shed tears. He cried. Ve'amar Zaka izdaz Rabbi Chia uvacha. So Rabbi Chia was completely shooken up and he started to cry and he said, praiseworthy are the great tzaddikim in that world. V'zaka chulake de bar yochai de zachalechach. And praiseworthy is Bar Yochai, is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that he merited to this, that the Mashiach came down to his academy, and they compared him to Chizkiyahu, the king of Judah, to Achia Shiloni. Alei Ktiv, so regarding them or him, it is written L'anchilai ohavayesh v'atzrotem amalei, to give to those who love me. Yesh is 310. Those are the great hidden worlds. They're merited. They merit to have that great 310 great worlds. V'otzroteim, and their treasure chests I will fill up with the great treasures of the light of God in that world. So it's the first piece of the Zohar on the redemption. Very powerful things, and we will continue. So please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. And again, subscribe and consider even sharing this, so we could all share that time of the coming of Mashiach, and where we have a world of interconnection and of peace. Wishing you many blessings.